Django Unchained. Let's talk about that. That's the other one I saw in Knoxville when I was trapped in Knoxville because there was a blizzard in Indiana and I couldn't get back home. So Django Unchained is the new Tarantino film starring Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz.
Yes.
And a lot of other actors in this. Leonardo DiCaprio's in this. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. While I watched this film, I loved it. I loved it while I was watching it. And then when I got home and started thinking about it and talking about it to other people and listening to what other people had to say about it, I liked it a little less. But that was sort of my take on it. But while I was watching it, I thought, this is brilliant. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I'd be interested in hearing what the other people told you, because actually the more I thought about it, in fact, I was up 2 or 3 times last night at 4 and 5 in the morning trying to think about Tarantino's link to Wagner. and it obsessed me. It's because Wagner's never mentioned in the film. However, Siegfried and the Ring Cycle is the story of Siegfried and Brunhilde. Mm-hmm. And the time that it was set, 1858, was the exact time that Wagner was writing the Ring Cycle, and actually completed the writing of the Ring Cycle during that time, but didn't have it the concert until 1870, I think. But anyway, I was obsessed with trying to figure out why he never referenced Wagner in the film, and that bothered me. But I liked the film a lot, and I thought it was this epic struggle or hero story, I guess. And certain things about it threw me a little bit, but I think Tarantino was trying to respect the genre, and like some of the title sequences I thought were a little self-indulgent, or even some of the quick zooms. But other than that, I just and of course the blood.
Yes.
But if you get beyond that, I really enjoyed the story, and maybe it's someone called Tarantino on this listserv that I'm part of a nihilistic, or his films are for nihilistic hipsters, and I don't think that's the case. I think there's much more there. But I thought it was really a good piece of filmmaking.
Yeah.
When I went into it, I couldn't help, honestly, but to compare it to his last film, which I did not like.
Yeah.
I had a lot of problems with his last film. Compared to his last film, I loved it.
Yeah.
Compared to his other films, I really liked it. I would agree with mostly what you said, John, about sort of the titles and stuff like that. Stuff that really kind of took you out of the element. One thing that I thought really worked, though, was the music. For some reason, when he tries to do the sort of he's always been just nailing the music stuff out of the park. And Inglourious Basterds really didn't do that for me, but I felt like the Western genre really helped using more current pieces of music. It just worked, and it made you laugh almost, kind of giggle, like, this is that's great what he's doing, connecting the old and the new. I really liked. I would be very curious to see if anybody gets nominated for this movie, because at points, people like Jamie Foxx just owns the whole movie, but then Leonardo DiCaprio owns like scenes, these extended scenes, and you're just like, I can't believe this is Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, he is, funny, scummy. It's just like you're just throwing out these things, and he's just killing it. Yeah, it's so crazy.
I think Jamie Foxx is really the best part of this film. Like, he totally knocks it out of the park, and I would not be surprised if he gets nominated. Samuel L. Jackson, I think, could get nominated as well, even though I think the movie left out some information about his character that I wanted. Samuel L. Jackson plays a slave of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, but there's more going on, and I don't want to say too much about it, but
he reveals himself later in the film, right?
I wanted to know more about how he got into that position and why he was sort of doing this sort of double-sided thing. I wanted to know a lot more about that. I thought that was really interesting. And the movie kind of was like, you're seeing what he's doing, so come to your own conclusions. Right. And I thought that was that's fair, but I just wanted more of that. And I thought Christoph Waltz was fine. He did what he needed to do. But as soon as Jamie Foxx starts to own who he is, when he shows up early on in the film, the first bounty hunt they go on, when he's like, "You're gonna let me pick my own clothes," and you see what he's wearing.
Right.
That's it. That's Jamie Foxx's movie from then on.
I'm pretty sure I was still laughing for 5 minutes at just random points. Like you'd forget about how just crazy the clothing was, and then you would see it again, and you're just like, I can't. In the context of everything, it's so ridiculous, but it works so well because of the setup, because of the fact that that line just sells the whole thing. Like, oh, you're going to let me do it. And it's just he's so oblivious to what, like, that's his image of cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's his image of, like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just, obviously, there's other things that, are throwing people off, but it's just that costume that takes it over the top in a really fun way. I will say that the movie was it did run a little long for me, and it felt a little clunky in the third act.
Yeah.
Was kind of where it lost me a little bit. I think it maybe wrapped itself up a little too nicely.
Yeah.
For what it was trying to do, I think.
I mean, it was
And I think honestly the only reason why that was because of the length.
Yeah.
I think if it had been maybe a little bit shorter with the same sort of last couple sequences, I would have been totally fine with it.
I think it could have wrapped up very satisfyingly at a certain point, about 2/3 of the way through the film. You guys know what part I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's a distinctive part of the movie where it could have ended.
But then there's another story after that. There's it's not even an epilogue. It's continuing on. And I understand why he wanted to do that, because it's sort of like, I can definitely see how he would be accused of the characters having unfinished business if he doesn't include those scenes. But and he doesn't get the showdown with the Samuel L. Jackson character that, I think a lot of people would have really wanted. I just think the rest of that could have been folded into the movie elsewhere. That could have been a little epilogue without an extra half an hour of film.
Yeah, one thing that really bothered me was that obviously throughout this whole movie, Jamie Foxx's characters, or Django, really wants to find Broomhilda. Mm-hmm. And there's at some point in the movie where I think it forgot that. And that was my biggest problem with the movie. And it does happen sort of 2/3 of the way in. And that really bothered me. Mm-hmm. That's the one big problem I have with it. Other than that, I think it's a really fun movie. You should check out. It's not for everyone.
No.
Like my boss asked me about it, and I was like, I think this movie on your scale would be the highest. Like, I can't believe I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other movies that are obviously crazier than it, but it does definitely push its limit, I think, for a general audience.
Right. It pushes limits, but it's not. That's the other thing I liked about it. It doesn't sugarcoat the world that these people were in. It shows, and it probably takes it maybe even further than you would have seen in an everyday world.
Sure.
I don't even know how many times, if you counted how many times the N-word is used in this film by every character.
It's about every 20 seconds.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't sugarcoat that at all. It's like, this is the world that you're in right now. Mm-hmm. It's grimy, and this is what reality used to be like. So deal with it. The other thing it is, it's an exploitation revenge film.
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's a really excellent modern version of that. But that's what it is. It's an exploitation film. And I love that Tarantino is sort of doing that. I personally think it's his best film since Pulp Fiction, but I'm not a huge Tarantino fan. But I've sort of had. I'm sort of with you, Jason. It's like a lot of his movies I really like, but I don't love.
Sure.
Pulp Fiction is this masterpiece of like top 50 films of all time. This is his best one since Pulp Fiction, I think.
And I guess that might be saying a lot. I mean, what I think Tarantino is really great at is creating this dialogue using elements of pop culture. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine trying to do that set in the 1860s.
Sure.
Yeah.
That just changes, what you can talk about that's going to relate to pop culture. And I think for him to pull together an interesting film without his strongest suit,
right.
I think again, I liked it, but
Yeah.
but I think that's a feat because his dialogue was always what he was known for, at least in my book.
Yeah.
And I like the nods to, I don't know if the Franco Nero who played the original Django is in the film.
I didn't notice that.
And it's in a sequence where he identifies himself in a way. But anyway, I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's cover. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.